Porcelina of the Vast Oceans.
What?
Yes, Porcelina of the Vast Oceans. That's the title of the song you're about to listen to.
Porcelina of the Vast Oceans.
Right.
Okay, so what would be the name of the band?
Well, here, the Smashing Pumpkins.
Hi everyone. It's true. I had no idea what I was going to be listening today, and he just told me the name of the song and the name of the band. I guess I've seen a few of you name this band in the comments over the past months. I really don't remember anything about it, if you've said anything about it, so this is a cold dive into the vast ocean here. Let me see what he gave me as far as facts to know about it before I dive in. They are an American rock band from Chicago, Illinois, formed in 1988. They have diverse elements combining gothic rock, heavy metal, dream pop, psychedelic rock, progressive rock, shoegaze, and electronica. I've never heard of shoegaze. No clue what that is. The others, I guess I'm getting familiar with those names. With 30 million albums sold worldwide, the Smashing Pumpkins were one of the most commercially successful bands of the 90s. Okay, this is going to be interesting because I haven't been spending much time in post-80s lately. So this will be a little change of pace, I suppose. I'm curious to see what it's like. I have the lyrics. He just handed me the score. I have the music. Let's dive into the ocean. The vast ocean. That's an interesting opening. I like the way it starts from practically nothing and then it's gradually, can we say, fading in. Already it gives me this kind of mysterious oceanic seashore feeling. I feel like I'm hearing the ebb and flow, the pulse of the tide or of some waves here. I'm going to back up just a little bit and we'll keep going. And this guitar is really beautiful. Was the first drum that's come in. It's like we're hearing the heartbeat of the ocean, deep and far away. range. Obviously, we've been growing closer, or perhaps traveling further out to a point of arrival, to a place, an arrival. Yeah, an arrival point, really, basically is what it is. And this crescendo that we've been experiencing. You know, it's interesting. I was just reading about the use of the word crescendo recently, or should I say the misuse of the word crescendo, and how in writing it has become quite common for it to be misused, in the sense that sometimes people say it reaches a vast crescendo, or peaks at a great crescendo, and that's the word crescendo doesn't actually mean the climax. The word crescendo means the growth, the development. And this is a wonderful example of a crescendo, where we start so quietly and then it just gradually builds and comes a little bit louder, a little bit more present, continuous expansion and increase in volume. And it always does have to reach a peak, a point at which it either stabilizes or it begins to diminish. Well, this seems to have arrived, and now we are ready to start our activities, perhaps, whatever those may be. But it really changed character there. It was as if I was looking at seeing a movie, and there was this sort of panoramic traveling view across the sea. And then at some point we do a quick zoom in, and there we are. Right here is where we arrive. The tempo picks up, the instruments change, the rhythm changes, everything shifts there. I like this little thump thump. It makes me think of the heartbeat. That was interesting. Notice how, when we launched in, of course, this is called the intro in the score, but we had this preliminary intro. The setup, I'll call this, which comes before. We'll call this the setup before the intro. The setup was entirely different in style and feel and mood than what we meet at the intro point. And at first they might sound completely divorced one from the other, but I noticed right away that the guitar goes bum bum, bum bum, which is very much like this that I was just commenting on a moment ago about this little drum heartbeat. Thump thump. Thump, 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 thump. It's as if they use that to keep it somehow linked and connected, so that it's not just two random chunks of music thrown together and connected by some tape. And then I didn't notice, I want to listen here. I heard it in the guitar. I didn't notice so much in the drum. But then, as we got towards the end of this section, I heard the same rhythm taken over by the drum, at least become more prominent. So let's back up and listen to that a little bit again. Listen to the preparation of it in the setup. There it is again. drum is doing it here, but you hear it mostly in the guitar. Bum, 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 bum. Now here towards the end, as the guitar takes this longer held note, then you hear the drum continuing that rhythm, bum bum, bum bum, and that's when the balance shifts between the two instruments a little bit. Did you hear how the drum was actually playing exactly what the guitar had been doing before? Bum, 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 bum. Even pitch-wise, they managed to make it reflect the shape of the guitar rise and fall as well. Let's just listen to that one more time and then we'll continue. Now we're to something a little bit lighter, a little bit fuzzy sounding.
As far as you take me, that's where I
Interesting.
the realm of soft illusions, floating on the leaves, on a distant shoreline. She waves arms to me, is all the thought believes, are closing in for sleep. The dilly-dally of a brightly stay, the steam of my misfortunes, it's given me the power to be afraid. And in my mind, I'm everyone.
So, I'm curious why, if there's any particular reason why, and probably I won't be able to come up with an answer for this today. I have a guess. My guess is that there probably isn't a specific reason. But here's my question. Is there a particular logic and reason in this particular song for the intro portion of this song to be the style it was? Musically, content-wise, I'm guessing probably not. It sounds like a fairly standard, at least what I've come to associate with being a fairly standard style of rock. I don't know if I could quite call this metal, but I do hear some similarities in some of the metal music that I've listened to in this intro. With this guitar style, the power chords, the rhythm, the kind of angularity of it. Is there a particular reason musically for the story, for the lyrics, to set them up with that intro? I'm guessing not. I'm guessing it just makes a convenient way to have a bit of rhythm and strong sound before we settle into this verse. But I'm curious if any of you have any thoughts about that as well. And then when the verse comes, as I said, when I heard it come in, the sound changed again. It was not an intro that set us up with the sound of the verse. It was an intro which is kind of on its own chunk of tonal texture. And then the verse comes, and as I said, it gets a little bit more fuzzy, or the guitar almost has a little bit of sawdusty sound to it. And within that new sound world that we come to, the voice enters. And I was fascinated by noticing how the voice fit within the instrumental context, because it's not a voice that I find striking. It doesn't sound like much of a voice at all. And yet, in this texture that is set up in the verse, it fits quite nicely. It blends and creates this, again, a sort of mystical feeling. And, well, I wonder if I've just answered my question. I wonder if the intro was set up so strongly with such a forceful, clear, angular sound to create a contrast so that we feel the impact of this next portion more acutely. Just an idea. So let's go on, and I'm going to back up and listen to this verse again, and then we'll continue. Here's where it changes to that rather sawdusty feel. Sawdust probably isn't the right word for something to do with ocean. Maybe a bit of static, a bit of interference underwater, trying to hear something. But it doesn't have to mean anything. It doesn't have to have a specific label. I'm just trying to describe and articulate what I'm hearing as we move through it.
As far as you take me, that's where I believe. The realm of soft illusions, floating on the leaves, on a distant shoreline. She waves arms to me.
I shouldn't say it doesn't sound like a voice at all. It doesn't have much presence. It's a bit off in the distance. And actually that makes sense with the lyrics. As far as you take me, on a distant shoreline, the thought police are closing in for sleep. The dilly-dally of my bright lit state, all of these kind of image impressions that the lyrics are feeding us. They all have a little bit of a distant, absent, lost in the vast ocean. We're dwarfed by the size of the sea around us, and the voice is dwarfed. It's a, should we say, a dwarf voice? It's a miniature voice. It's a small presence, but that doesn't. I didn't mean to say it in the sense that he's not singing or that he doesn't have a voice to listen to.
Floating on the distant shoreline. She waves her arms to me. Is all the thought police are closing in for sleep. The dilly dally of a bright stay. Esteem my misfortunes. It's given me the power to be afraid. And in my mind,
Really quite melodic.
I'm everyone.
Easily singable. Back to this. Quick, quick, quick. Let's move on.
Without a care in
Oh, but now we have a voice.
Without a care in this whole world. Without a care in this life. It's what you take that makes it
We're shifting back and forth between styles and moods so much. So now this, what was the intro? Suddenly had a melody placed with it and lyrics. Without a care in this whole world, but it was still in the more present, pointed, assertive personality. Without a care in this whole world, this life, it's what you take that makes it right. And then we're shifting into this more watery sound again as we move to the bridge. They do use a lot of different textures and sound, kinds of sound.
in the slipstream of thoughtless thoughts.
Oh.
The light of all that's good.
It took a moment for the percussion to join us back again.
It's true.
That was a nice little break. Okay, so we're right in this area here. And then as the verse,
Slipstream of thoughtless thoughts.
it kind of gives the effect of a cappella without actually pulling out all the instrumental support. By having that stronger mix in the bridge section, and then we end up with the long sustained Porcelina at the end. And then as the second verse begins, the instruments haven't really picked up motion yet. They're almost dropping out. And then it's as if they suddenly wake up and realize, oh, he's singing. We better start participating.
In the slipstream of thoughtless thoughts. The light of all that's good.
Comes the drum.
The light of all that's true. To the fringes gladly I walk unadorned.
Building again in volume a bit.
Creations with filth and disease. Porcelina, she
Feel more of the ocean wave here.
Seashell hissing lullabies, whispers fathom deep inside my own hidden thoughts and alibis. Secret thoughts come alive.
And here we are again with this intro riff. And it is the chorus again. I guess I'm beginning to feel it as kind of a little bit quirky and, well, without a care in this whole world. But the way he's singing it now and the way it starts to settle and mix with everything else, it doesn't feel so much aggressive as I thought of it when the first time it entered. But now I begin to relate to it more as something carefree. And I don't think it's because of the lyrics. I think it's because of how it's contrasting with the music before and after it, and all the different layers and changing textures. It's a bit quirky. It's almost humorous in a way. We're immersed in this sea world. And we're talking about Porcelina and thoughtless thoughts and the light of all that's good and true, and then walking to the fringes, and then the gods and their creations. There's very much a mystical element to these lyrics and to the music surrounding them. And then we get to this riff. Bum 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 bum, and it's playful. That's the word. It's playful. It has an element of lightheartedness that we don't hear in the other parts. The other parts aren't somber or solemn, but this has a quirky playfulness to it. It's kind of like a little kid saying, I don't care, I don't have anything to worry about, I'm just going to dance, play, sing, do my thing. There's the drum carrying it on. Yes, notice what the drum is doing here, because the music shifted a bit again. It's still in the same style, but things straightened out a bit and this whole section expanded, lengthened, and it didn't end at without a care in this life. Suddenly it's going on. In my mind I'm everyone, and in my mind I'm every one of you, and that wasn't there before. That music wasn't there before. It's been pulled out of, this section has been extended to make room for that. And we don't hear the guitar doing so much bum 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 anymore. But again, listen for it in the drums. And it's telling us that this is still the same personality, the same style, the same character here. now we're to this more seafaring quality again. I wanted to say something about the melody that I hear the voice singing here in this section. And that is that it's a very singable melody, very lyrical, even though the voice doesn't strike me as a particularly lyrical voice. And yet he's singing this lyrical style, and it has a little shade of the kinds of songs that we hear traditionally about seafaring life, sea shanties and other folk songs about going to sea and so forth. There is a little hint of that in there. It's not attempting to be a traditional folk song or anything like that, but again, it's pulling on these associations we have with different kinds of music, and that's what's helping to draw us into this space. Getting lost in this watery world here. Seashells and seaweed and underwater coral reefs and fishes and mermaids. Like what you hear when you're swimming underwater. It didn't take so long to fade away as it took to enter. But it was the same idea of we've been somewhere and now it's receding off into the magical world of fairy tales and storyland. It had some interesting elements to it. It was maybe a little bit formulaic in some ways where I felt like I didn't find anything that really grabbed me and, made me feel like it sparked, there was a close connection. But it was interesting. It had some different things than what I've been listening to. And I liked the way that it was balanced. It had a good overall presentation, and it kind of rides the fine line between what I would call background music and something that you would actually need to listen to enjoy. I'm not sure which side of the fence it lands on, and that may be why I'm trying to figure out, do I like it or not? At this point, I can't say that I really love it, but it's not a bad song by any stretch of the word. It has some quirky personality to it, and I do like that. A lot comes down to your taste. Do you enjoy this kind of music? Well, I suppose this is a quite nice piece of music to listen to then, because there's nothing really unpleasant about it. For someone like me, I don't know if it would end up on a playlist, but that's okay. Regardless, it had some sounds and some approaches and some things used within it that caught my ear and made me want to listen and think, okay, what's going on here? And I enjoyed the process. I enjoyed the experience. So that was my first exposure to Smashing Pumpkins and my first listen to Porcelina of the Vast Oceans. I guess I feel like it does belong. That's one thing it does incredibly well, is even supposing I didn't know the name of the title of the piece, I would have tended towards thinking of a seascape, a watery world, because it brings in all those associations with the sound and texture and color and style. And the way it's presented, it's as if it's carrying us far across the water to a place, and then we have this music here, this experience, and then at the end, it fades off into the distance again, and we're brought back to our world. And I think that was quite nicely done. Now, a little announcement. Coming up, the 3rd of August of this year will be exactly 1 year, the 1 year anniversary into my journey into this kind of music. And wouldn't it be nice and special to be able to celebrate that along with reaching 100,000 subscribers at the same time? I think that would be pretty neat. So don't forget to visit my Ko-fi and Patreon and like and subscribe if you want to support my journey and help me meet my goal. And I'll see you next time.